Here's a fun fact for you. 90% of homeowners park their cars in a driveway instead of using a garage. I've lived in a house for 3 whole years now. I recently took some time and thought about how many times I've actually parked my car in a garage. It was just once. Once in 3 years. The rest of the time, my car was parked in the driveway. Since it's going to get so much use, you really want to pay attention to the details of your building site and location when you begin work on the driveway. Finally, it's time to see our concrete mixer. I should tell you, too, that we actually ordered our concrete 1 week ago. We stayed in the loop and learned that it takes around 1 week in Austin now. So, the truck has just arrived. Are you ready to see how we pour the concrete for a driveway? Hey you guys, in my time working on houses, I've messed up on driveways so many times you can't even imagine. I remember working on my first driveway when my friends and I tried to pour it. If you're wondering how it went, let's just say we had to redo the whole thing from scratch. So you don't end up in the same boat, we really have to talk about what details you should pay attention to when you're working on driveways. The first detail you're going to have to worry about is the driveway projecting. An architect will take care of this job for you. When they start working on the design, they're going to have to follow instructions on how to make the road, which pipes to fix, how to work around the sewage system, the type and thickness of concrete to use, the safety of any nearby trees and their root systems, which is so important, and what kind of facilities can be used under the driveway from a county or local authorities. You may say it's just a driveway, but there are so many little details to worry about, even just in the projecting stage. After that part is taken care of, it's time to find an expert contractor who can meet all the technical requirements of the job ahead. Hi, Artem. Hi. We're creating a video about driveway construction. I was hoping you would share your life hacks and expertise with homeowners who have hired a contractor like you to work on their driveway. What should we look out for? As a contractor, I primarily take care of the projecting documentation and the code your driveway will need to follow. For a client, what you want to consider is the quality of concrete and whatever other materials are being used, the slopes, and water sewage. In our case, we had to install a large drainage system for water sewage. In addition, the driveway has a slope with a definite step. So the driveway has 2 slopes, one towards the home and another one towards the road. Do I have that right? Yes, that's correct. We actually had to order settlement documentation for the slopes, so we knew we were building it properly and so we could direct water in the right direction. Hey, what kind of car is this? It's a new Tesla by Elon Musk. It will help us make our preparations before pouring concrete. Once you have your contractor, take the time to talk with them about the driveway drainage system. Sometimes there'll be rain and even snowstorms here in Austin. A snowy or icy driveway will play a cruel joke on you. If you've ever fallen on your butt just trying to walk to your car in the morning, you know what I mean. That's one reason it's so important to make sure your driveway has a good drainage system, especially if it has a slope. Talk to me about this big pipe here. Is something you use for all driveways or just this one? And why is it placed there under the concrete? Well, in this specific location, the ground can't absorb water and moisture when it rains or snows. As a result, a lot of water pools up. Obviously, you don't want a pool in your driveway. Or maybe you do, I don't judge. For this driveway, the pipe is here to direct that water away from the road and move it somewhere else. Is this pipe a part of a technical document? Absolutely. Okay, I can also see a white pipe here. Why is that there? What does it do? This is what we use to absorb the water away from the slope of the driveway. Obviously, we can't control the weather and the flow of excess water, so we need to control where it goes instead. What does this blue thing do there? This blue drainage is here to absorb the water and send it away from the house and basement and in the direction we want it to go. We might set it up around the house here, for example. Some more things to consider are the thickness of the arma and the ties you'll use. You can't weld arma, you have to tie it. When you install it, you also need to make sure you're leaving space between the ground, sand, and arma for when you start pouring the concrete. The arma's not going to do its job if you don't set everything up properly and leave that space. Artem, can you tell me why you fixed the white pipe in the center of the driveway under the arma? That's actually one of our special life hacks. You're lucky to be hearing this. A lot of the time, there will be construction or renovation work happening around or on both sides of the driveway. Those projects can contribute to problems with braking. We avoid this and assert everyone's safety by installing an additional technical pipe like this one. So, if you don't have this pipe, the driveway breaks. Did I get that right? Yeah. You will have to completely ruin your driveway to fix new facilities, and then build a whole new driveway. So, this one extra pipe will save you thousands of dollars in the long run. This driveway is 20 feet wide. That's the recommended size. If you need room for multiple cars, you should have a 40-foot long driveway. That's the standard recommendation. Of course, you have the control here, and you can make it shorter or longer if you want to. If you make it too small, though, you might have to trade in your truck for a Prius. If you make a 20-foot driveway, do one cutting right in the middle. If you don't, the concrete will break down in some other place over time. So, if your contractor makes cuttings in the middle and alongside 20-foot plots, the concrete will crack just in those cutting spaces. It's a lot better to be in control of those things rather than letting nature do what it will. Artem, what should a homeowner do to keep the driveway from breaking and cracking? We all want to make sure our driveway is good quality and lasts. You're going to want to follow the document's instructions and codes. Use high-quality concrete. Make sure you use arma of the right thickness and ties in the right places. And remember to do cuttings according to the code you're following. If you do all those things, you can park in the same driveway for years. Just like your host here has. Another thing you have to consider with driveways is the finish. It needs to be rusty to make sure your car's wheels and your feet will be able to grip it well. So the concrete should have that rougher surface. If the driveway is too smooth, you're more likely to slip or have issues with your car not stopping and driving into the garage. Talk about disaster! So, make sure you use a rough coating to finish your driveway. Something else to think about is how thick the driveway is. The minimal thickness for a driveway is 4.5 inches. That's what the codes mandate. It is important to pour part of the concrete above the arma and part of it below. Okay, let's talk about this seed line. I see it on driveways all the time. What's it for? Codes mandate that we separate private property and city property. So, that's what it's for. Now, of course, there are different types of driveways. Not all of them are made with concrete. They can be made with paving slabs and fine gravel as well. Honestly, you can use just about any other covering, like asphalt, for example. In any case, the city line on the driveway's entry before the seed line must be concrete. And the last detail we'll focus on today is inspection. You have to pass all of them, and there'll be a lot. The first one is a pre-pour inspection, where the inspector checks these codes: the form, the arma ties, the seed line location, and the property line. The after-pour inspection is where they check the adequacy of the finish path, pouring, cuttings, and look for cutoff angles. As you've seen, driveways have angles or turns that are designed for a car to drive in comfort. So, if you don't cut off these angles, the concrete will crack in random places. Make sure you take care of those cuttings. As far as I know, you should pass the necessary inspections, right? For this plot, we had to pass water and city inspections too. We actually had to dig a ditch here too, because there's a water canal under the driveway. That had to be done before we could start pouring. So, we dug the ditch, fixed the pipe in it, and called for the inspector to check. When we got the green light from the inspector, we started working on preparing the driveway's form. After the forms, we called for a city, county inspector to check the ARMA, the quality and distance of the ties, and the slope of the driveway. So, you had a pre-pour inspection, water inspection, pre-pour inspection, and the final checking. And then there's one more final inspection done by the construction inspector. I want to summarize everything I talked about with Artem, our expert in basement and driveway construction, before we go. So, what should you consider when you're building a driveway? The first is material quality. You have to follow code requirements, and you also want to make sure you're building your driveway to last. The ARMA and the concrete you order have to meet the requirements. The second is sticking to the projecting. The pipe has to be fixed under the projecting requirements. The ARMA's ties need to be of the right distance and quality. The joints need to have those seed lines. The drainage systems have to catch and redirect excess water. And the driveway has to have the right slope for safety and comfort. All in all, your biggest priority should be to follow the drawings and code you're working from. And our last concern is inspections, of course. You have to pass all those inspections. Otherwise, you will have to pay fines, and maybe even be left to rebuild your whole driveway. Artem, thank you for your insights. Good luck with your challenging tasks. Glad to meet you. Hope you like what we do here. Also, always, I'd like to invite you to come see our projects. I'd love to share with you what I'm building and give you more insight into why we work this way. Subscribe to my channel, and one of our projects could be yours one day.